Welcome everybody to the Zoning Commission regular meeting this April 4th, 2024 at 7 p.m. This meeting is being held in the Town Hall, room 133. If everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight, I'll have the commissioners here tonight introduce themselves, starting from my left.
Gwen Arment, alternate.
Daryl Pratt, regular member.
Anthony Papucci, Vice Chairman.
Kurt Timmerman, Chairman.
Sean Turner, Secretary.
Matt Grimes, alternate.
Tonight, Matt, I'd like to raise you up to voting member, if you're okay with that.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, so we were talking about perhaps moving a couple agenda items around to move the enforcement report to the end and the 7A, 500A ahead of 5B, the cannabis. I'll accept a motion.
Is 500A here? Do we know?
Yes.
Okay, they are. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll move to move item 7A till now,
And 2A to the end.
and 2A to after 9.
All right. Have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tony. Any discussion about moving those around? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? That unanimous. All right, we have a couple of pieces of correspondence in the interest of time. I'll just mention we had a letter from the Planning Commission regarding.
Are we doing 7A now, though?
No, we're doing 3A. We're just moving 2A,
Oh.
and we're just getting rid of the couple small ones and then going to 7A
Okay.
because they're small.
I think it is.
We had a letter from the Planning Commission on the POCD update, so we'll take that up next time. The POCD rewrite has started now. And then we have two minutes, March 28th, 2024, and also our April 4th, 2024 special meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at those minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the regular minutes from March 28th as submitted.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Tony. Any corrections or anything anybody noticed in them? No? Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Also, I'll take a motion for the minutes of the,
Special meeting. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the special meeting on April 4th, 2024.
all right, thank you, Tony. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Daryl. Any discussion on that? All right, all in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Unanimous. All right, so since 271 Federal Road 5A is actually continued to the April 25th meeting, so we're not doing anything with that tonight. We're waiting on some returns from the notifications. So no public hearings on 6, to open. So old business 7A, 500A Federal Road Z-24-7, if you'd like to present.
Good evening, to recommend Steve Sullivan, CC Engineers. Since our last meeting, we made a couple of revisions and submitted a couple of revised plans. The plan you're looking at on the screen right now just shows the emergency access. Bottom of the page, the fire marshal wanted to widen from 18 feet to 20 feet, so we did that. Fran, if you switch to the next one. Also at the last meeting, request for adding landscaping between the buildings closest to Federal Road. Yep, right there, we added 7 shade trees and 12 evergreen trees. It's a diverse mixture of buffer plantings between those units and Federal Road. And I believe my associate was here last meeting and talked about the building heights and some of the regulations. So I think.
Yeah, I think that's all we wanted to hear from you.
Yep.
So do any commissioners have questions for the applicant?
I do. Mr. Chairman, yes. Thank you for adding the evergreens especially. I noticed Newberry has a fence and evergreens in front, so that's why I'm not seeing all of their units. Are you going to put a fence up?
There's gonna be a fence around, it's not gonna be a solid fence, it's gonna be like a, if you pull up that rendering, right, they showed the fence on there. Yeah, that rendering that we submitted last time, but it's a stockade fence, like, it's not a
Post and
solid
rail?
fence.
On a
Yeah, post and rail.
And those evergreens will cover pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna grow over time, and that'll thicken up the area between Federal Road and these first row units.
Oh,
What is the footage there, that front part?
It's about, it's 107 feet off of the property line, so it's probably like 115 or so off of the edge of the road.
Across,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
from the first row units from Federal Road to those first, back of those units at the top.
Do you mean along Federal Road?
Yes, along Federal Road,
This dimension you're
yeah.
talking about?
I'm sorry, I'm not looking at it.
Yeah.
But from here, I'm sorry, where the units begin.
No, give you dimension.
Like from here to here.
Oh, that's about 250 feet.
Okay.
Right, any other questions from the commission? Any comments anybody want to make?
Mr. Chair, so are we voting on the height as well on this?
Yeah,
So the whole
approval of what they
Okay.
have, you
Okay.
know, if, I had mentioned last time that, based on the language in our regs, and the attorney's opinion, that we had some leeway to adjust them, above the 30-foot. Not that we can't change things in the future, but for now, the way the regs are. And how that relates to next door in Oak Meadows, is it Oak Meadows?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
and that these buildings on the front, I think the tallest ones are just over 31.01, I believe it was.
This first row,
Yeah, and 30.65, so the tallest ones, the ones that are about 34 or something, are stacked behind.
36 is the highest.
Is it?
36 and change, so that's
Yeah.
why we went for 37, but that's in the back.
Yeah. So based on the language, the commission does have the opportunity to flex some of those heights, but, you know, within reason.
Yeah.
So, based on those 6.11 in architectural guidelines for the A. So,
How do you feel about that?
I mean, for me, I like the looks of them, and I like the way they changed the massing. I also like the way they changed the property so that they're taking less natural resources out, they're moving less dirt around. So I like that. I like the extra, the
Greenery.
plantings too, the greenery.
The buffer.
The buffer, yeah. So that's my feeling on it.
What's the height of the surrounding?
Oak Meadows goes up to, I think,
38,
Oh, it does.
yeah,
You can't see Oak Meadow.
Right.
yeah.
You can't see it
You
from the road.
can't see it, no.
That's the ones farthest to the
Right in your
back,
face,
right?
so.
Correct.
No, the
But
place next door. Oak
I know
Meadows.
that- I know
Oh, yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah, you can't see those. but
Not the
yeah,
ones, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and actually, those are the ones closest to Oak Meadows, the high ones in here. So those, and all these are lower
Yeah.
than Oak Meadows.
But
And
Newberry's
actually
right.
lower than Newberry Village.
Solid fence, and they have the evergreens.
Down.
Yeah.
And this is the more in front.
No,
If you look at them, they're recessed down below the grade in the first driveway.
I'm going by
Talk
the
about
road.
Newberry.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Newberry,
yeah.
Newberry, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, Oak Meadows,
recessed down.
not,
No,
but the
you don't
building,
see it.
right,
You don't
the
see it.
building's black in the
Yeah.
front.
Yeah. These buildings, these front rows blocking everything behind it, so you really
Right.
can't see
You
anything.
right. You won't see taller buildings.
As long as we see the trees first.
Yes, yeah, I mean, it'll take time to grow, but they'll put them in, and it'll get there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at
the
the
trees
end of
first.
the project, they'll, when the landscaping's ready to be installed.
Is this the one that has the sales trailer?
Yes, so that's temporary until they're done.
How many months?
They sell out.
Could be a year.
Yeah,
Is it gonna be pretty?
It's just temporary. It's not,
Job trailer, so it's not pretty.
Not pretty.
it's just temporary.
So are we ready for a vote on this? I'll accept a motion to approve. And if you do make a motion, approve it based on these drawings that they submitted dated April 2nd, 2024, because these are the ones with the updates.
Mr. Chairman, would you also mention, let's see here, that you're approving we gave a list of all the maximum building heights in our
Oh, in your,
submission,
in your update?
in our letter, dated February 14th.
All right. So many pieces of paper. Doesn't include these ones.
In case you feel comfortable, they could just say the maximum building height of 37
Do
feet.
we have a copy of that letter?
February 14th.
Oh, no, no, that one. I thought he was talking about something new.
No, he had,
This is the original.
Yeah, I know.
so when they came back, we had approved this some time ago, last year sometime. And they came back and re-engineered it, or cost, what do you call that?
Value engineering.
Value engineered it. And so they wrote a letter to that effect, how they value engineered it, and also to talk about what they were gonna do. So I have to find that letter, unless you,
That's it.
oh, that's it, right here? Oh, right.
Yep, that's it. And so on that attachment there is the building.
Okay.
And smaller
I see.
buildings.
So we'll make reference to this later as well. All right? So, you want to do that for me, Tony?
Yeah, I make a motion on approving the 500A Federal Road Z 24-7, CCA 40 Old New Milford Road, Brookfield, Connecticut, for tollgate, Brookfield LLC 70 West Danbury, site plan modifications, and various architectural landscaping modifications based on the drawings submitted April 2nd, 2024, and also with the stipulation of the height limits in the letter submitted to the zoning board from CCA, what's the date, dated February 14th, 2024.
All right, second on that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor of approving the application?
Aye.
All against?
One.
Daryl?
Abstain.
And one abstention. So that's 3, 1, 1? Did I get that right? Yeah. Thank you, and you're approved.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Matt abstained.
Thanks a lot.
Yep. I'll stamp that later. All right. And now we're here for the main event.
Just before we do that, is there anybody here that maybe thought we were discussing 271 tonight? that,
Oh, yes,
we're
I'm
gonna be
sorry.
discussing?
From our meeting last time, we had continued 271 Federal Road,
25th,
the White Star Properties in K Church, to the April 25th, because they had to do some notifications they forgot to do, and that takes some time. So that's why.
I just didn't want to.
So is there anybody here for that? No, that's good. That worked out. Get rid of my extra paperwork. All right, I'm going to reread the, oh, can I have,
It's on record.
yeah, there we go.
It's on record.
Thank you. This is a continued public hearing for application Z-24-11 for cannabis regulations brought by the town of Brookfield and specifically by the zoning commission. I have your sign-up sheet for pro and con, and don't worry, if you didn't sign up, you can still speak after I call these names. So, no worries. I'm gonna read. Here we go. This is a regular meeting of the Brookfield Zoning Commission. At this point in our agenda, we have a scheduled public hearing concerning the application of the Town of Brookfield, Connecticut, application Z-24-11 for a regulation change in text amendment of permitted and prohibited uses regarding cannabis establishments and medical marijuana dispensaries. First, again, let me introduce the members of the commission present here this evening. From my left,
Gwen Arment, alternate.
Gerald Pratt, regular member.
Anthony Papucci, the vice chair.
Kurt Timmerman, chairman.
Sean Turner, secretary.
Matt Grimes, alternate seated as voting member.
We will open this public hearing by calling upon the commission secretary to read the legal notice as before.
Whole thing or just-
Just the middle part.
Brookfield Zoning Commission will hold public hearings at Town Hall, 100 Pocono Road, room 133 at 7 p.m. on today, 4/8/2024, for the application by 100 Pocono Road, Z-24-11, Town of Brookfield application to change the text and amendments of the permitted and prohibited use regarding cannabis establishment, medical marijuana dispensaries. At this hearing, interested persons may appear to be heard and written communications will be received. Files are available for inspection at Town Hall. Kurt Timmerman, chairman.
Thank you. This application was formally received by the commission on March 14th, 2024. The public hearing is only one aspect of the approval process and is for the purposes of accepting factual information and data bearing on this application and to allow expression of opinion by interested parties. Normally, subsequent to the hearing, the commission has 65 days in which to render a decision. Because the commission brought the application itself, there is no time limit. The final decision may be in the form of approved as submitted, approved with stipulations, or denied. After reading into the record the correspondence received by the commission, since there's a preponderance of information and correspondence, it's up on the website if everybody wants to read it. We will summarize it though. We will ask the applicant, myself, to present the application in detail. My presentation will be limited to 45 minutes, though I already presented last week, but I'll hit some high points again. The chair will then entertain questions of clarification concerning our presentation. We will hear from those who wish to speak in favor of the application, followed by those who are opposed. Comments must be limited to 3 minutes. Members of the public will have one opportunity to speak during this segment of the hearing and may also submit their concerns in writing during the public hearing. During this segment, the commissioners may ask additional questions. The bylaws of the commission allow for only the presentation of similar positions in succession and preclude the intermixture of comments pro or con. All questions and comments must be directed through the chair. As you are recognized, please state your name and address so your comments may be legally recorded. Please be assured that everyone will be given the opportunity to speak. However, the commission is most interested in hearing factual information relative to the application. In view of the time constraints placed upon us, we ask your indulgence in not reiterating comments previously presented. After the public comments are received, we will have the opportunity to comment and time will be limited to 10 minutes for us. Are there any questions about the rules? All right. As I mentioned, we had a lot of correspondence, but we do have,
Just,
oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't hear, is the application also for growing?
Yes, the applications, and I'm going to go through that.
Oh,
Production
I didn't.
and medical and recreational use. So that's what the application's for. But I'll go through.
But not for just for sale, also for growing?
Yeah,
And manufacturing.
Yeah.
Just a question on procedure.
Manufacturing.
Kurt, if we have anybody on the speakers list, I don't know if it applies, that spoke the last time, I think they're supposed to wait till everybody who hasn't spoke.
Yeah.
I don't know if that applies to anybody or not.
I see a couple people here, so it does, but not that many. Yeah, so in speaking, I'd like to give precedence to people who have not yet spoken, so they can speak, and then we'll go through people who have already spoken at the last meeting, so they can go afterwards.
Mr. Chair, do we have a time limit for their speakers?
3 minutes each one, yes. Oh, thank you for listening. Let me first summarize the number of people who have spoken about this.
Who wrote in?
Who wrote in or spoke at the last meeting. So feedback letters received about this cannabis regulation between March 28th and April 11th meetings. In support, there's 7 letters. In opposition, there were 84 letters, and then there's other neutral, there was 4 letters, which is interesting. So, also I counted myself when I went through all the letters, and I made sure when I counted, if someone sent the letter in as a couple, I counted them as 2. I have taken off the 2 we didn't have an address for. 92 con, against, and then 5 Brookfield residents for. These are Brookfield residents. So that just gives you an indication. All those letters are up on the website, so if anybody wants to look at them and the content, then they're up there. If you go to board meetings off the town website, then you can find our meeting under Land Use, Zoning Commission, and then go to April 11th, and then below there, every single letter, plus other information regarding this application, and the actual information. So that's our public feedback, and thank you. Also, someone sent out this mailer, it wasn't us, but that's, thank you, it's impartial, but it got everybody to send these letters in, and that's exactly what we wanted. And we had our own advertising. We tried to have articles in the paper, we had something on the website, we had something in the spotlight, and I think the patch had something too. So we tried to get the word out however we could, and then someone also sent this out. I mean, that was money someone spent, so that was good of them. Appreciate that. Let's see. So sign-up sheets from last time. So I did have something I wanted to say before I get back into the information regarding this. Notes here somewhere. I just printed it out today. Oh, all right. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight, as well as submitting emails and mails to share their opinion on this very important subject. Now, note that the commission nor the town was involved in the mailer, as I mentioned. I want to address some misconceptions that I noted in the letters that came in that we received since the last meeting in regards to why and how these proposed regulations were put forth. First, to say the zoning commission, as well as overall town government, is impartial regarding to whether allow or ban cannabis establishments in Brookfield. The reason we brought this application forth is to have regulations in place by the time the moratorium ends on May 16th. Whether the final regulations allow or ban cannabis or something in between. That's because, as I mentioned in the last meeting, without any regulations in place when the moratorium expires, any applicant can come in with a simple site plan application, and if it met the current regulations for a similar use, like a liquor store, we could not deny it. So this is part of the State Public Act 21-1. So the Zoning Commission acts as a jury in deliberating and deciding on this application. We as a commission have to keep an open mind as we receive data and opinion during the public hearing portion, and only come to the decision during deliberations after we close the public hearing, based on all the information we received from the public and other data that we received. So I just wanted to mention that first, because I've seen some people wonder how we could bring it forth, and that's the reason we're doing it. So we have to have a modicum of control over how things happen in the town, and one way that is through regulations, zoning regulations. The other thing someone asked for, and maybe you could put it up, is what would a ban look like based on the regulations?
I can't shut it down over
Oh, you
there. Get it back on?
the regulations, by the way, our regulations are set up as permissive. We put in everything that's possible in the universe to allow, because we cannot add anything afterwards when we start this process. We can only subtract. So that's why those are there. Now, how do we get to a ban is by almost subtracting everything. There is one portion in the application, if you look at the regulations, and I'll go through these again. There was a few sections of the proposed language. The first section, which will always be there, are defined terms. We have to define what cannabis was and all the different parts of it that relate back to the state regs, Public Act 21-1. And so whether we ban it or allow it, those are the definitions we go by. So we have to have those there. And so that would never change. What would change, and what we have as a commission have to do when we go into deliberations, is look at what we've put here. And for the next sections where we have commercial district, and by the way, these are only in commercial districts, not residential at all, is dispensaries and cannabis retailers. And we had those, there's a section in our table, 4.2.a, commercial district permitted uses, where we would add or subtract. We added, but we could subtract them out in most of the commercial districts with that, except for marine commercial and TCD as a special permit. We also added cannabis production facilities, so this is growing, things to be grown, in the industrial districts as an industrial use, again, in the same districts of commercial districts except for marine commercial and TCD. So those things, if we wanted to do a ban, we would not have those entries anymore. We would strike them from our language, and we would say delete them from anything that's in the current regs. And the next one, so it's like the opposite, right below it, there's, in the language was a section 4.2b, prohibited uses. And originally, right now, if you look in our regs, under F, one of the prohibited uses is medical marijuana production facilities. So if you wanted to prove stuff, including that, we would delete that line. We wouldn't prohibit it. But if we wanted to prohibit everything, we would leave that line and instead say prohibited use is cannabis establishments, which is one of the new definitions, which include producing, dispensing, cultivating, hybrid retailers, food and beverage manufacturers, everything dealing with cannabis. So in one line, thank you. Yeah, if you go down, so go back up to cannabis. So cannabis establishment is every type of establishment, whether you're growing or a medical dispensary or a retailer for recreational use, or hybrid, which is both. So those cover everything. So if we go down below to section 4.2a. So right here, those are where we add the uses that are allowed. And if we wanted to do a ban or only allow certain things, we would only put the things we wanted to allow in these tables. If we didn't want to allow them, we wouldn't have these entries. And then below it, 4.2b, there's current language, as I mentioned. Oh, no, we went too far. Medical marijuana production facility, we would strike that if we wanted to allow production. If we wanted to ban things, we would instead just modify it, amend it, and add what we didn't want. If we didn't want anything, it would say cannabis facilities. That would affect a complete ban on all cannabis-related things. And then if you go further down, we wouldn't change this at all, because as it stands, it's just fine. and then 4.4L and M become unnecessary now because we've prohibited them up on the top. If we want to allow certain things, you know, the table would change under 4.4M. You notice that 4.4M right now, if you looked at our current regs, is the moratorium. And that moratorium is the one that expires May 16th. And we can't just have a moratorium forever, we have to have a time limit. So if we kept extending the moratorium, we'd be right back here, extending it again and again. If we make some regs, we can stop doing that, and if the regs say prohibit everything, then in the future, if things change, then we can change the regs again. So that's how you go from regulations that seem to allow everything to a ban. So that's the difference here. So with that, just I'm now I'll entertain questions of clarification. Could you stand up, state your name and address for the record?
This wasn't what I was signed up to talk about, but
Oh, we don't sign up for this because you won't know what you want to clarify until you hear me talk.
My name is Al Hoffman. I live at, I have a home at 111 Wisconsin. I just wanted clarification. Medical marijuana, if we banned it, would that include any licensed pharmaceutical facility selling doctors' prescriptions for that?
Yes, that's what a definition of a medical dispensary is. Right now, our regs, ignoring the moratorium, before the moratorium, we allowed medical marijuana dispensaries. So people would have to get a prescription from their doctor and get an appointment and go and pick it up. So that's different, totally different from retail. Retail, anybody can walk in as long as they're 21 years old and purchase cannabis products.
I didn't understand the definition, but thank you for clarifying.
And just to clarify further, hybrid is both of them together. So you could go with your prescription, or you can just go and buy something.
I believe, didn't you clarify last time, it wouldn't preclude delivery?
Yeah, delivery this is for brick and mortar facilities in our town. So the state has allowed delivery people to come and bring something to you. So we don't control that, that's controlled by the state. All right.
I just wanted to know whether a doctor's prescription was required. What you're talking about, medical marijuana, I didn't realize was only for doctor's prescriptions.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, all right. Any other questions of clarification?
I had one question. Austin Montero, 17 Dairy Farm, just for the public. The municipal tax is only on retail sales, correct? Not
That
on
is
manufacturing or medical or anything else?
As far as getting money from taxes.
Right.
For a production facility, it would be on their production equipment, and sometimes you can get, some of those production equipment can be exempt from property taxes or property tax.
Yep. But yeah, the sales tax is just from a retail establishment.
Yes, and
Correct.
that excise tax at 3% on top,
Right.
again, is just retail.
Right. Just so everybody knows. Thanks.
That gentleman had his hand.
Yes, sir.
Phil Rothstein for Arapahoe Road. Are there similar or equivalent regulations or zoning restrictions for alcohol, such as distilleries, breweries, or retail? Anything in parallel to what we're discussing here?
We allow distilleries and microbreweries in town in certain commercial districts. So those are allowed uses right now.
And wineries, I believe.
And wineries, yeah. Also, there's a separation distance for those sort of things. That's separate from liquor stores. Liquor stores are controlled by the state on how many you can have based on your population. In Brookfield, right now, it's 7. And then they allow 7 by state law. We say you have to be a certain distance apart by our zoning regs.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Harry?
Harry Schicker, 87 Long Meadow Hill Road. Just for clarification, the commercial tax is not based on retail sales, but based on the brick and mortar, value of the brick and mortar and the interior contents, is that correct?
For our production facility and
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
it's
not on,
nothing on sales.
right, thank you.
Karen, can you repeat your address, please?
87 Long Meadow Hill Road.
Thank you.
Any more questions or clarification? Yes.
Hi, Gail Archer, 20 Long Meadow Hill Road. Just a quick question. I noticed in the government guidelines that municipalities have the authority to restrict signage for these establishments and hours of operation.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping you ban it, but if you don't, I don't know that you have any restrictions in your guidelines, and do you have a plan to put them in if you?
Well, the state regulations are pretty severe as far as advertising within sight of, underage people and with
Right.
our schools and things like that. So in deliberations, we go through and, decide, to add more restrictions if we.
Can you?
Like signage, yeah. So that's the thing about the regs. We can't permit more based on what's written. But we can add restrictions. all the
Such
way
as
down
hours
to
of
the end.
operation and that sort
Yeah.
of thing, maybe? Okay, great.
And we normally do that, or regularly do that, even with regular applications. We
Okay,
Put
good.
stipulations on.
And one other thing, not related, but do we have regulations on the use, where you can use the cannabis?
And
And is
in
that,
the state has regulations on having public places.
right,
And right now, you have to be a certain size to have to have it. Like Danbury's of a large enough size, they have to have a public consumption. But
Can
small
you-
towns like that, we can prohibit, we prohibit smoking on public streets or public areas.
so this would be included
Yeah.
in that then? Smoking on public streets, parks, the beach,
Yep.
all that
Yeah.
is included? Okay,
Yeah.
wasn't sure about that.
And
All right.
we can, layer on top if we want, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any more questions or clarification?
Can I have one more?
Sure.
I'm sorry, it's just.
Sometimes you think of something as you hear other people ask.
Al Hoffman again. If there is growing going on, is there any possibility that that could be considered a farm?
No, not if it's cannabis.
Why-
So
why
you
would-
can't grow cannabis. I mean, the state regulations allow personal grow. You can grow.
Yes, I understand that, but if we are looking at allowing the growth,
Yes. So it could be outdoors or indoors.
yeah, but if it was outdoors, could that property then be claimed to be a farm and take a different tax situation?
Oh, I suppose.
I don't believe so, Mr.
No,
Chair.
you can't?
No.
You have to
There's certain rules about growing cannabis established,
All right,
grow facilities,
okay.
So
regulated by the state.
it couldn't
It
be.
cannot be designated as a
Oh, a farmland, so you can get the tax break?
There are certain restrictions on how they have to grow it, limitations on whether it's inside, easily accessible. It's not as simple as just having a grow facility. They're normally in clean rooms, where they have their actual growing.
Yeah.
It's a big process, so it doesn't really meet the farmland qualifications. There have been people who oppose this to the state.
Oh, all right. There's high security for any of these establishments, so you can't just have a simple fence around your weed plants. You have to, you have to have a lot of security to protect it and secure it.
Not for personal growth, though, like you were saying.
No, not for personal growth, yeah. I forget how many plants for personal, but that's,
I-
we don't regulate
That
that.
many?
Mr. Chairman, I thought it had to be an indoor facility, production,
Well, I would say out,
in state.
in state, well, I guess we'll have to
thought.
look at that. We have some regs, but we have state regs that we have submitted.
I think these people know over here.
I can answer all these questions if it's helpful.
No.
We'll be able to look up the regs ourselves. So
Sure.
we have the regs.
Sorry, I have one more question or clarification if I could.
Mr. Kane had a question first.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andy. I didn't see you back there.
Thanks. Andy Kane, Fernbrook Drive. Just want to ask a couple of clarification questions. It's my understanding that if you're going to be a retail or wholesale grower of cannabis in Connecticut, you need to be state licensed. That's number one.
Yep.
Number two, there's been a lot of talk bandied about how Brookfield's going to make millions of dollars off of all this stuff. Well, if anybody can find anybody
Do
that's
you have
made
a
any
question
money.
of clarification?
Yes, I do. I'd like to know how that process is going to take place. It's my understanding that Brookfield would have to put in a taxation component in order to be able to do that. We currently don't have that in place. Also, I have not been able to find any towns or municipalities that have profited off it. It's my understanding that the state of Connecticut does not cut you a check from their sales revenue. You have to go and collect your own money from the producers. So those are things I think people need to be aware of.
And the retail dispensary.
Correct, yes.
They send you money. You have to.
You
set
have
up
to
something.
assess and collect it. Thank you.
Well, Dave, just so you know, the money for the excise tax, the 3%, does not go up to the state and then back down to the town. It goes directly to the town from the retailers. It's true, there's a mechanism for that, but,
I don't know that it's been established long enough to have the data that he was asking for, though.
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, just real
Sure.
quick, yeah. Austin Montero again, 17 Dairy Farm. Just some clarification here, on the proposed site where it would be. I know we're still under moratorium, there's no
Yeah.
commercial lease or sale in place.
So
There's
just
signage on the building.
clarify that, this is a zoning reg change.
Okay.
And if someone has hopes to put it somewhere,
Sure.
that's a separate application.
I totally understand, there were
There is no
signs on the building today, just
Yes.
so I know you guys are aware of it. And
Yes, those
just-
signs were without permits.
Correct, so I just wanna
Yeah,
make sure you guys know that, thank you.
yes, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we became aware of that.
Good, good, good.
Any other questions of clarification? Sir? Yes, please.
Paul Travelino, 542 Haviland Road, Stamford, Connecticut. I'm here to actually later speak about our experience in Stamford. Question about smoke shops in town. Do you have any?
There are some, yes.
How is that generally received? How is that going?
We did approve years ago, and I don't know if it's still in effect, Fran will remember, the hookah permits, remember, for,
hookah.
for the one restaurant that came in for it?
Oh, for Sammy's.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever happened with that?
Never followed through with it.
Oh, we didn't follow through.
So
okay.
we have a smoke shop right here on two on Federal Road. One next to our Del Primos, where they sell, it's like a head shop. And the other one that's further down the road south, that's on the other side of the road near John's Best Pizza.
And these are just typical retail places with
Yeah.
glass
Tobacco,
storefronts?
lottery
and-
tickets, yeah.
Yep. Thank you. Got it.
Any other questions of clarification? Nope. Okay, I'd like to take comments pro, so let me go through the list first. Charles Lichtenhauer. Charles, did you mean
Right over here.
did you mean to speak on this cannabis?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Charles Lichtenauer. I'm a lawyer in Danbury, Connecticut. Ward Mizuko and I represent Divine Holdings and Debbie's Dispensary, which would seek a special permit to locate in Brookfield if the enabling regulations are adopted. I'd like to just make a few statements in support of the proposed regulations based on comments received at the last public hearing. I'll be very brief. First, it's worth noting that there are undoubtedly many residents in support of this regulation who are concerned about the stigma associated with cannabis and are therefore not here tonight. I just hope that the Commission takes that into consideration. Second, legal regulated cannabis is tested for impurities. It's sold in child-proof containers. It is already in the town of Brookfield, and it can drown out the illicit market. There was a lot of talk last meeting about cannabis being a gateway drug, and I'd like this Commission to just take a no further look than at alcohol, which is a gateway drug, proven to be dangerous to one's health, and it's regulated. Let's have knowledgeable professionals, pharmacists, available at regulated dispensaries to help patients and recreational users use this drug responsibly. As of this afternoon, I should mention there are 44 signatures on an online petition in support of this Commission adopting cannabis regulations, 61 in support of the regulations on the survey circulated by Mr. Keller. I understand there's plenty of comments in opposition. That's just a summary of those in favor. I should also mention, and Paul Travaglino came up earlier, I should note that we have several industry professionals with us tonight. I would welcome the commission to ask them questions. They're very knowledgeable in the field. They're the most experienced people in the room. And with that, I thank this commission, and I'm done. Hope I didn't take 3 minutes. Sure.
Yes. Thank you. Let's see. I'm gonna, Andy, did you put something down for 4? Do you mean to put it in?
I'm sorry, I signed the wrong form. I didn't bring my glasses tonight.
Oh.
Do you want to be moved to the other form?
Yeah. I'm affecting the move now. Andrew Simoneau, I'll get to you afterwards because you already spoke last time. Did Paul Travaglino speak?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Not last time? All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come speak to you about this, and also members of the public for weighing in. This is not, oh, I'm sorry, 542 Haviland Road. That's in Stamford, Connecticut. So I drove an hour here to speak because I wanted you to hear not only what I understand from what's going on at the state level, but what also has happened in Stamford, and to talk to you about a cannabis user and a not so much alcohol user anymore because of cannabis. I also want to talk to you about the incredible regulations and statutes that are in place. I first want to talk about Andrew. I've met Andrew through the industry. He's a very good guy, and he's incredibly diligent, and I would not have driven up here if I didn't think the world of Andrew. And that's something to consider every time you bring a new licensee into this town, if you do, to see how they operate. I want to talk a little bit about what it really takes to do a dispensary or a hybrid facility and what the regulations require. Everybody knows, I think everybody knows that cannabis is illegal federally, but some 20-odd states have legalized it either for medical or for recreational, or what is often euphemistically called adult use. And in Connecticut in 2021, the Connecticut legislature created a set of statutes, and the Department of Consumer Protection did regulations that put requirements in place. Any facility, even mine, I have a food and beverage manufacturing license, so I'll be making gummies as an example. In a hybrid facility, which is, yes, medical in nature and does have a full-time pharmacist at an expense of at least $100,000 a year, we have to have a vault, and that vault is the federal DEA Schedule I, Schedule II vault standard is 8 inches of poured concrete with half-inch rebar tied off every 6 inches. And if you want to Google this, go look at YouTube, and you can see videos of people trying to breach that vault. So the products are trucked in a secure truck with separate containers for each delivery, with redundant communication systems, and oftentimes 2 drivers if there's any amount of cannabis whatsoever in them. And when they get into the dispensary facility, they are under lock and key. In some jurisdictions, you can walk in and open a jar and look at it with what is often called a bud tender and be able to touch and smell the cannabis. Connecticut, you can't. This is one of the most difficult states to stand up a cannabis business. Our packaging is white. Our logos are a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. It looks like medicine when it's in your cabinet at home. And when it's in a dispensary, you can't access it. You really can only ask questions to the retail associate, or you can go online and maybe look at some pictures. I asked the question before about smoke shops because this is highly relevant to what's going on in Stamford. Stamford waited a long time to put regulations in place. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, if there are questions, I'm happy to entertain questions too. I mean, look, I'm
No.
3 minutes, you're done.
So I know we have only a few people in favor. If you want me to stop talking, I'll stop talking. If you want me to answer questions, I'll answer questions.
Please, everybody.
But I think
We do have a timer going.
okay, and that's it. Okay. You most likely have smoke shops in this town already selling illegal cannabis. So I just
Please.
I know that.
Please, everybody, a little, let's give each speaker their time.
I would welcome the opportunity to answer any questions if the commission has.
Anne Marie Rosado.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anne Marie Rosado. I reside at 19 Cedarwood Road in Berlin, Connecticut. I too drove down an hour in support of Andrew. I go back with Andrew. He actually constructed my first office. I own a medical marijuana clinic in Meriden. I'm going to read from this so that way I don't get off track, so that way I can educate all of you to make you feel a little bit more comfortable about what I do. I am the founder of Higher Health, a medical marijuana clinic here in Connecticut. I am also a full partner at Himalayan High in Becket, Mass. That is a retail cannabis dispensary. Most importantly, I am a patient advocate and I'm a medical patient myself. I started my journey in the cannabis space as an advocate testifying in front of our legislators and medical board to add the condition of chronic pain to the list of qualifying conditions to the medical program. The reason I was advocating for this was without the option of plant-based medicine for pain, opioids were the only option. At that time, I had lost 2 family members to the hands of their trusted physicians who constantly prescribed opioids. My late husband was alive at that time. I begged our trusted leaders not to make me, not to make my family any smaller. The condition was not passed until 2019. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little off here. The condition was not passed, but in 2019, my husband did pass due to opioids. 3 weeks after that, I opened my clinic. I remained persistent to get that condition passed, and in 2021 it was. I cannot begin to tell you, all of you, how many patients of mine come back to me and say that they stopped taking opioids, they stopped drinking, they stopped taking sleep aids, Xanax, Klonopin, and how much their lives have changed for the better. They don't drink or take illicit drugs. I will be the first one to agree with all of you that cannabis can be dangerous if used improperly, but more so if purchased outside of a legitimate source. Towns that have a dispensary have less crime, more tax revenue, and more people educated about cannabis. Dispensaries, most importantly hybrid, which Andrew is planning to build here in your town, those that will serve medical patients have a higher percentage of repeat customers that are more educated. Hybrid dispensaries have a pharmacist on site, and there is medical advice readily available. Would you mind if I just finish so that way I can educate you?
If we have time.
I'm so sorry that you don't want to be educated.
Please, people, please, keep your comments quiet. Andrew Simino.
We asked the audience not to converse while we're hearing from people.
Yeah, if everybody please have no side conversations while the person's presenting, so we can show respect for their opinion.
Thank you. Andrew Simino. I live in East Hampton, Connecticut, 13 Alden's Crossing Road. I'm here for our site that we hope to open at 99 Federal Road, if the regulations obviously allow it. I was very moved by what Anne Marie just said. I actually didn't know all that about her mission, but I just want to kind of say that the reason I'm involved in this business is also because of missions and kind of like what she explained and people like her. And I want to be clear that I'm really trying to educate the public as much as possible. Any effort I made is to do that, and it seems like no one's taking me up on my offer. It's disappointing, people being rude just because they're against something. You could be against it, but there's no need to be rude. I think it's very important to be informative, to be educated on what you're against or what you're for. So you can either strongly and, be educated, be against it, or You know, maybe it'll change your mind because you don't know something about it. So I'd like everyone to just consider the fact that our mission is solely to be a sophisticated, secure business in the state of Connecticut, follow all the rules, all the regulations, be a great corporate citizen in this town, give 3% taxes, the best 3% tax we can produce, which is hopefully $280,000 a year, or $2.8 million in a decade. I do not know any other business that will be able to do that for this town. I also want to add that we have a social equity mission. We'll be helping people advocate for social equity within the city of Danbury, nearby. We have a workforce development plan. We'll be looking to hire over 25 people, including a couple pharmacists. Paul said $100,000 a year, more like $180,000 a year. These are very well-trained pharmacists that are specially educated in cannabis medicine. I just want to explain that we are only here on that mission, not to, you know, necessarily produce a product that people are going to have fun with at a party. This is for a mission to produce great quality product for the medicinal market and for qualified and consumers that are, you know, that are meeting all requirements to use it at home for adult use if they'd like to. And with that being said, I have found a lot of support for the mission once I was able to educate people. And this is not false information. This is cited out of, you know, studies at Yale or UConn that we've done over the years. I've been doing this a decade. So it's my number one thing is I just like people to be a little bit more open to the education of the business. It's new, it's scary, but please be open. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor of this application? Sir? Oh. Yeah, I guess you might have. All right.
Philip Rothstein for Arapahoe Road. 2 points I'd like to make. One is, remembering back to when this commission first discussed a moratorium on marijuana facilities, it sounded like this was the Wild West. There were going to be open fields, kids running loose, and you know, whatever. Our experience, my family's experience with the medical marijuana is exactly the opposite. It's much easier to walk into a liquor store, or for that matter, one of these smoke shops, as in tobacco, and do something illegal or, you know, steal the merchandise, whatever. Our experience with the botanist in Danbury is, it's an amazing operation. I wish Rite Aid or CVS were that professional in their pharmacies. So this is not the Wild West. Medical marijuana in particular is amazing. If you know how many pain management doctors, interventional pain management doctors, have advocated for medical marijuana, our own experiences with it, forget about oxycodone or Vicodin or all this other stuff. Medical marijuana is a legitimate medication that has not been widely accepted. Obviously, some people in this room and the general public, but again, it's a matter of education. The people who need medical marijuana are going to go to whatever lengths they have to go to get it. There's no stigma like there used to be. It's a medication. It works for a lot of people who are in terrible pain or suffer from other conditions. In my mind, there's no reason to stop or those people or make it difficult for them to have access. As far as recreational, hey, I could walk into a liquor store and grab a bottle and walk out, not that I would or did have, and get drunk and have a DUI incident. You can't do that in a dispensary. You can't smoke on the premises. And by the way, a lot of people equate marijuana with smoking. There are tablets, capsules, gummies, chewables, vapes and all kinds of other forms of delivery. And most people who use medical marijuana use it in their own home. They don't wander the streets or, you know, the 1960s vision of marijuana, it's not the same anymore. The second thing I'd like to be clear about, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Jillian Doherty.
Better ask if anybody signed the list again.
Jillian Doherty, 49 Hop Brook Road. I just have two statements, and the first has to do with if we put a mixed-use dispensary in this town, people from Litchfield County will be 10 minutes closer to being able to get prescription marijuana if they need it. Right now, their closest options are in Waterbury and the far side of Waterbury, and in and west side of Danbury, and we're a good 10 minutes closer than the west side of Danbury. The second thing I want to ask is, I'm pretty sure you mentioned that this may continue on another session. I don't know if it will, but I would like to encourage you to think about continuing on another session. After all, last time we were 2 residents of Brookfield. Well, I guess now we're still only 2 residents of Brookfield, but there were 7 letters as opposed to 1 in favor of this. We're out there. We're just loath to be vocal, apparently, and I think I understand why. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak in favor of this application? All right, seeing none, we'll move to opposing comments. First one up is Harry Shaker.
Harry Shaker, 87 Long Meadow Hill Road. I want to preface my statements by saying that nothing that I'm going to say today is in a malicious way, a disrespectful way. I'm not here to hurt people. I will say that 2 things. Being on the Board of Education, being a selectman, the decisions need to be made at the table with people with public comment. We shouldn't be talking off the floor, telling people what to do. On the flip side, when you come to our meeting, especially being out of town, you need to know the rules. And if 3 minutes is 3 minutes, then 3 minutes is 3 minutes. And that's what leads to issues like this. Secondly, I'd like to thank the Commission for bringing this forward now and being proactive. It's going to help Brookfield to be able to make their decisions, any decisions that they want to make on this. A couple other comments that I'm going to make before I really get into it is, again, we had, I think, 7 people speak for, only 2 are residents of Brookfield. In the short time that this flyer came out, you had over 110 people respond to you, 105 being no. So that being said, this is a decision not like bringing a supermarket in, or not like bringing a clothing store in, or that type of retail. This is a decision that is potentially going to affect Brookfield for the rest for forever, all right? This is a very controversial subject. From the arguments for, and again, this is all with due respect, the arguments that I see are the use of it. I'm not against the use of cannabis. I'm not, whether it's medical or whether it's recreational. I don't have that right. It's a matter of where it is. As far as the location goes, if you need medical marijuana or you need recreational marijuana, there are towns in our area that you can go get it to. And with, again, with all due respect, if we're gonna put these facilities in because somebody's 10 minutes closer than someplace else, that's not gonna cut it with me. The fact that cannabis is safer than our gold is in Fort Knox, that's great, but that's not a reason to bring it into Brookfield. This decision shouldn't be made on political reasons. It couldn't be made on political correctness pressure. It shouldn't be made because of people coming to you with their, on the ground, beating their hands and feet on the ground. It needs to be made on what is morally, ethically correct and what is best for Brookfield most of all. This is a small town, and we don't need to have this money. If the town of Brookfield needs the resources or needs the money, we're in bad shape. Thank you. I did have more to say, but I did not.
Thank you. Al Hoffman?
Al Hoffman again on Wiskaneer Road. I've heard some things pro here that I don't believe to be accurate by my knowledge. I do a lot of reading across the country, and it says that that the places who have legalized marijuana still have a problem with illegal sales, and it seems, I won't say it's worse, I'm just saying it's not getting any better. So with that, I want to remind people that it's still a federally banned drug, and so we should look, I think, because of our particular situation, that we should look at New Milford and Danbury and see what their decisions have been made with respect to this, because if we are the only ones, we are going to bring people here for legal use, but also for illegal use. We will just encourage that. I hope that the members of the committee do take the time to somehow talk to the police and see what their situation would be with this if we were to adapt it. I think it would be premature at this point to be the only people with legalized marijuana in the area. I think that would just draw everybody in. I'm not against medical marijuana. I would hope that if we do allow medical marijuana, that we might somehow state it could only be at full-service pharmacies, something where it's anybody that needs it and has a doctor's prescription can get it, but not have a hybrid situation where anybody can walk in and get it. Thank you all for your consideration and for your preemptive movement on this. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. John, can I put my glasses on? Basic? Do I have that right? No. Joanne, Basic? No. Oh, signatures is going to be tough. Carl, do I have a Carl here that wanted to speak? I can't, I think it begins with a C, or maybe it's an A.
Oh, I can't even tell you what that is.
Is there a Carl here?
Yes.
All right, guess not. I'll move on. This is a signature I cannot make. We'll get back to it.
Next time we'll put please print on the top.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. No signatures.
What letters it begin with?
V? I have, this one I have no idea. Carla Rothstein, I think you just were on the wrong one, right? Yeah, all right. That was
Victoria, maybe?
Stewart?
Is there a Victoria here?
Oh, yes, Vicky. I'm sorry.
We have a winner.
You're gonna have to go back to school on your.
I'm in nursing school. Vicky Stout, 33 Green Knoll Drive in Brookfield. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak, give my opinion on this. I think some of the negative effects on our community by giving access to marijuana could bring around those who struggle with addiction, as well as those who would like to take advantage of them by providing a less expensive avenue to obtain it. The weed sold on the street is not only more potent, but can be laced with fentanyl and now xylazine, which we all know can be fatal. And you only have to experience that once to know it is not worth making it easy to get started with a benign or lesser drug. Also, I would like to mention a very vulnerable group of our population, the adolescents, the 15 to 21-year-olds whose brains are not fully developed and might be genetically predisposed to addiction, and they have access through older siblings, older friends, to obtain marijuana. Studies have shown how crucial it is to delay the initial amount of drugs to a brain that is not well developed. And I think we have to be pretty gullible to think that our high schoolers are not using weed. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Pat Bosio?
Pat Bosio, 2 Whitetail Lane. So now, we value money over the welfare of our children and grandchildren. Do you realize that the decision you're about to make, the cannabis dispensaries, could have life-changing effects on the residents of this community, and mostly not a good one? We're responsible for the next generation, what will be the legacy that we're going to leave for them. They already have inherited burdensome debt, an educational system that's broken, a society that's with odds with everything we have known and loved, and now we're going to add a gateway drug to the dismal future of what could be a great generation of young people who could potentially make this world a better place. This is like selling your soul for profit. I know you think it on a fiscal level, but there must be other ways to raise revenue. Why don't we concentrate on getting more reputable businesses in our town, especially with all the new buildings we're erecting, other than the things that could be detrimental to our lifestyle and society? I urge you to turn down this application. Your record will speak for itself, and I want to make a quote from Ephesians 5:15 that says, "Look carefully on how you walk and decide, not as unwise men, but as wise." Please be wise in your decision.
Thank you. Thank you. Andrew Kane?
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Andy Keene, 5 Fernbrook Drive. I'd like to thank all the members of the Zoning Commission, the purpose of which is to keep Brookfield a great place to live. Please vote no on for recreational cannabis sales in Brookfield. We don't want that here. I also take exception to people telling me I need to be educated because I don't agree with them. Adolf Hitler, Pol Pot, Deng Xiaoping all sent people to re-education camps because they didn't believe in the same things they did. We don't need that here. In fact, the zoning requirements require that you vote against it. The purpose of the zoning regulations is to guide the Planning Commission is to guide future growth and development in the town of Brookfield in accordance with the adopted Plan of Conservation and Development. Nowhere in that plan does it say that we want to promote drug sales that are illegal at the federal level in Brookfield. Brookfield has had problems in the past, as you well know, when it fails to follow zoning laws that that violate federal law, an example being the churches. So don't allow recreational sales in Brookfield. The regulations are also in place to promote health, safety, and the general welfare of the community. Remember that old slogan, smoking kills? Smoking cannabis provokes the same attack on lung tissue that tobacco did. Worse than that is the use of cannabis while driving. It's no surprise that there has been an explosion in confused driving accidents since cannabis was legalized in Connecticut. Drivers get on the highways driving in the wrong direction. Just yesterday on 84. I-84 was impassable due to a wrong-way accident. Not long ago, an elected official was killed on Route 9 with multiple drugs, including cannabis, in his blood. Legalizing cannabis has led to deaths and injuries. It was a bad move. Brookfield zoning regulations already have a section for medical sales by prescription. No one has chosen to build a dispensary here. Dispensaries are available in Brookfield. Also, delivery is allowed into Brookfield from these dispensaries. Please vote no to recreational drug sales in Brookfield. Save our children's future. Save our town today. Thank you.
Fern Spinack?
I want to make sure everybody else is on.
Okay. Is there anybody else like to speak in favor?
In favor?
I'm sorry.
Opposed.
Just checking. Just checking.
We did get your EDC letter, Jim.
Jim Fisher, 12 Airmont Circle. I'm speaking as the chairman of the Economic Development Commission. At our last meeting, we voted to extend the moratorium with no time limit. As a sidebar, I've been in the town a long time, 35 years, and this is going to be to the crowd, and some of you aren't going to like this. Off-track betting came in. It was at the high school. The crowd was 99% against it. They were horrible, treated the people horrible. I'm going to apologize to you people for coming here and speaking. That's not our town. We should not be treating you that way. So I do apologize on behalf of myself. Anybody else can apologize, but I'm apologizing to you. That's illegal. It's legal in Connecticut, whether you like it or not. They have a right to come here. I'm going to tell you, I don't think this is the town for you, and I'm speaking from the heart.
Jim, please.
Okay, I'm speaking to the commission.
Yeah.
I would recommend that they look someplace else. You can tell from the crowd and from the correspondence, it sounds like Brookfield is not ready for this. And thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else like to speak in opposition? Sir?
Kevin Archer, 20 Long Meadow Hill Road. I've heard talk about what we can do with the money. I'm against this, but the only benefit I hear people talk about is the money. And they said police, hire teachers, build new ball fields, money for the library. None of that is allowed by state statute. According to the state, the money can be used for streetscape improvements or neighborhood development in the area where the retail establishment is. Educational programs, youth employment and training programs within the town. Services for individuals living within the town who have been released from prison or on probation or on parole. Mental health and addiction services. Youth service bureaus, municipal juvenile review boards, and community civic engagement efforts. And that's it. It can't be used for the general fund of the town, for the schools, for sports, for anything else in the town. Someone mentioned Litchfield County, and I looked previously other towns that have these facilities, and Torrington, which is the largest city in Litchfield County, has a facility. They just opened last year. It's been open for 1 year. They received, the tax benefit was half of what was projected. It was barely over $100,000 the town got. And the town, because of the restrictions and what you can do with the money, they didn't know what they could spend it on. It sits in an escrow account. They don't know what they can spend it on, don't know what to do with it. But only got half of what they were told they were going to get. So it's not the benefit that people think it's going to be. Please vote no.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else like to speak in opposition?
Fern did, right? Oh, sorry.
Hi, my name is Linda Davies, 30 Lillinona Drive, Brookfield. In 2023, I went before the Board of Education to speak about a book called This Book is Gay. I opened my speech with, this is not about one book, this is about the line that we are crossing. And here I am today in front of the zoning board to discuss the marijuana store opening in Brookfield. Civic virtue was once our defining characteristic. Now we have declined into money first and ethics and virtue later. Everyone is trying to make a buck. The problem here is at what cost are we willing to pay? The attorneys come here to represent these companies, lining their pockets. The representative from these companies tell us this is a sophisticated enterprise. But this is our town, and I object to their presence here. We don't need a pot store in Brookfield. We certainly don't need synthetic pot, which is being called medical marijuana. How is this now medicine? This has been developed and produced and being marketed by Big Pharma. Are we ready to trust them with our health and well-being again? It's fake. We should be a community dedicated to raising healthy children. This is the wrong message to send them. Why must we send our children a message that we need a recreational drug to be happy? Leave the medical marijuana in the hands of the doctors and out of the hands of our children. We don't need to be educated on marijuana. We know the effects of a marijuana. It makes you high. I don't want to hear about the profits. You cannot compare it to the damage that will be done. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? I'll do Fern. Oh, wait, you haven't gotten
Lady
it?
in the back. Then.
We can at the end, right? This
4 was first.
opposition is still going. Did you say earlier if someone wanted to get up, they could?
Yeah.
But if she'd like to go, she has to finish with a bang, though.
All right, well, yes, Fern, yes. Because Marty went last time too. Marty Fonsillo. So.
I would just like to say that politeness goes both ways. Thank you.
Fern Smeniak, 112 Obtuse Road South. During the last meeting, I came before this board in opposition to any type of cannabis facility being allowed in Brookfield. I also mentioned 28 Brookfield kids that have passed over the last 12 years due to drugs, including my own son. I have been very involved with the children in this town for many years, which includes running the Biddy basketball program, as well as the baseball and softball program. I've also coached many Brookfield children over the last 25 years in those programs, or had them in my after-school programs. And I've coached a lot of your kids too, and I've had them in my programs as well. I've seen them all grow up, and some become very successful. Others get hooked on drugs, and many die due to that addiction. Why Brookfield needs any type of cannabis facility is beyond me. As you all know, many surrounding towns have banned these facilities, and there is a reason why. Brookfield needs to do the same. We don't need it, and allowing it jeopardizes so many things. It's sad this decision has come down to this board alone. I know I wouldn't want to be responsible for making this decision and having the potential of so many things going wrong. I'm sure you have all told your kids since they were young to say no to drugs. This board would be hypocritical to not only their own kids, but to all the kids who have been told by their parents to say no. Please vote no and be able to sleep at night knowing it was the best decision for Brookfield. Most importantly, the best decision for our children.
Yeah.
I did speak last time, but it's okay. You speak now.
Yeah.
Is there anybody
We're doing anybody who spoke last time. We did everybody
Is
who
there anybody that
hadn't
didn't
spoken.
speak last time that now wants to speak?
Okay.
Yeah, we've almost heard from everybody in the room.
Got everybody, huh?
Well, she's 4. Yeah, no. Maybe I'll circle around and do one more 4.
Okay, good evening. Marty Fonsello, 11 Drover Road, Brookfield, and I am the state representative for Brookfield. I spoke last time, and I want to make sure that that gets entered into the record as part of this testimony today also. Bottom line up front, I'm urging you to vote no on this. As I see it, 2 major issues: quality of life in the town and the character of the town itself. Right, we don't need to change those. Brookfield doesn't want or need to be known as the place to go to get these drugs or these products. People who need the products can get them nearby, whether they're medical or recreational. All right, we're not making any comments on the recreational, but you can get them in Danbury. I had one of our pharmaceutical people look it up. there's a place called The Botanist on Mill Plain Road in Danbury. It's not that far away. They can go there to get whatever they need, and if your doctor prescribes it, he'll make sure that you get it. I also mentioned last time, I'll say it again, mental health is a primary concern of mine because we have so many problems with it in Connecticut. Why allow drugs that may make the problem worse in our town? Right? If somebody wants to on their own go to another town to get it, fine. I think we need to make the decision here to say no on our own in our own community. We know some towns are for it, some are against it. Brookfield should be against it and vote no. And regarding the money issue, as I said last time, I just see the money as blood money. And I would just say in closing, don't sell your soul or our souls for money.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Foster, you already spoke for.
Not today.
He asked questions.
Oh, he asked questions. All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Austin Montero, 17 Dairy Farm. So, second what Marty said, this isn't Danbury, Stanford, or another town, it's Brookfield. It's great that we get to make this decision as a local zoning board. To add to the emails that were sent in and the great job that Tom and Aga did presenting that survey last week, we also ran a poll on another platform that I emailed into you guys. Hopefully you got it. And that had 163 votes, which is substantial. Over 83% of those voters were opposed to this, full stop, as am I. So I oppose any cannabis establishment in any nature whatsoever in the town of Brookfield. And there were actually some interesting reasons on there when you get into pistol permits and will it be checked by the licensing and firearms unit if you buy a Schedule I drug at a cannabis facility, if red flag laws come up down the road. So some very interesting reasons why people are also against it. So in full transparency, I used to be for this. If you asked me 3 years ago, I would have said, let's do it. But I did take the time to educate myself, many hours, reading about the nature of this synthetic form of THC. It's not what my grandfather smoked at Woodstock in '69. It's a much different animal that we're dealing with. If anybody has had any of these edible gummies, if anybody on the zoning board has ever tried one, it will put you into another mind-altering state, which we do not want to have. Like Andy said, driving around or operating any kind of machinery in this town. Causes anxiety, mania, depression, addiction, and it's very hard on your central nervous system, and it's also very hard on your liver if you're eating it. Obviously hard on your respiratory system if you are smoking it, just like any other form of tobacco or weed. So I believe in harmonizing our health and not consenting to the proliferation of THC and what I see is a really decay in the community of bringing this in and normalizing it for the children coming up. And what else did I want to add to that? Lastly, yeah, with the smoke shop comment. So the reason we're seeing a lot of these smoke shops selling illegal weed is because of dispensaries popping up. They are undercutting dispensaries, simple supply and demand. So the more dispensaries we see, you're going to see smoke shops and other illicit black market dealers selling this at a lower rate. And like somebody else mentioned, that then could be laced there with who knows what. So again, the more you put this out there, the more you're going to get the black market on the back end, which will obviously not be good for anybody. So I appreciate you guys, and hopefully we vote to move this away from Brookfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else like to speak in opposition? Now, ma'am, you missed your opportunity for 4.
I did, is it?
Well, if you're the last one to talk, then
Kirk, no, you read the rules, and
I
if we do
know.
that, then we'd have to let somebody from the opposition, we're gonna get a
there's
lot of.
nobody else wants to talk. I mean, this is just.
There may be after somebody speaks.
In the interest of having all public opinion, everybody have their say, I'm willing to let this one person talk. So.
I agree.
Ma'am.
I was not expecting to talk, but I will talk, just very briefly.
Your name and address?
My name is Ellen O'Donnell, 5 Cottontail Lane in Brookfield. And I just want to say, I hear a lot about the children here, and I understand that. I'm a professor at Western Connecticut State University and coached many teams over the years in the town my kids grew up in, Brookfield. Of course, this is 21 years old, is the age you can go into a dispensary. So teenagers are not going into the dispensary to get any product whatsoever. Sometimes a story is a good a good way to tell something. I had a lost boy. He is now 28 years old. He was lost because of chronic migraine that he suffered from 4th grade until he was 18 years old. With that came extraordinary depression to the point where he couldn't attend school anymore. They could not give him medical marijuana at the time. It was not part of the protocol. He went through many stages of this, depression, anxiety, began to smoke marijuana, which he bought anywhere he wanted, in Brookfield, in New Milford. Shady characters coming up to our beautiful 4-bedroom colonial, right? And it was all bad news for him. We got him help, we got him therapy, we got him rehabilitation. He ultimately moved to Colorado. And through the guidance of doctors, through the help of a dispensary, through help from what this industry has brought, he no longer smokes marijuana. He no longer does that to his lungs, but he has help from a cannabis operator and the pharmacist and his medical doctor to help with his anxiety. So that's my story. I think we get a little crazy about marijuana, pot, weed. This product is helping a lot of people, including young people, who sometimes get saved by it. I would love for this to go to a vote to the public, because I think it is hard to speak for it. And it's quite possible Brookfield would vote against it, and then you'd all be done, right? It's tough to come out and speak in public about it, though. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody else? I guess everybody's spoken. So. You know, if we, is there any comments by the commissioners, what they heard?
Oh, I do have a question. Well, I can discuss it later. No.
I'm going to move that we close the public hearing.
So do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tony. Any discussion on the closing of the public hearing? No, all in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right. So what that means is the public hearing, our input of data is now closed, so we won't be taking any more information in. Our next step, and it won't be tonight because we have some more business to do, is to go over the information, the commission, what we've looked at, and then we start deliberating in open, but with no comments from the audience. And after that deliberation, we'll call a vote and see, you know, which way we go. But thank you for all the information everybody's provided. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody coming out. It's not easy to come out on a Thursday night when you want to be home eating dinner or whatever. So it's very well appreciated.
So we're not gonna have any deliberations tonight?
I don't think so. We have other business.
Okay.
Plus, there's so much information we've heard. I think each of the members have to go home and think about what they've seen, go over the letters, because it's a lot of information
It is.
to talk about or to think about. So.
Thank you.
Motion to continue to April 25th.
Yes.
Second.
Thank you. Motion to continue, a second. All in favor? Sean, yes.
We just take a break to let everybody get out of here.
All in favor of continuing the deliberation? Aye. All right, we're back out of recess at 8:38. So the next agenda item is revision of zoning fee schedule. Laura?
No.
No, I'm teasing. The zoning enforcement report.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 47 High Ridge Road, that's been continued, continuance was granted to June 27, 2024. Galaharda residents, 118 Pocono Road. I spoke with the attorney today. They're in the process of getting a survey because it has to go to planning. They're going to be doing a land swap with a neighbor because of the overhang on the property that encroaches in the setback. So they are working on that. It's going to be hopefully have that be going to plan and hopefully by the next meeting. So
Do the two neighbors seem amenable to?
they do,
Okay.
yes, according to the attorney, yes.
Okay.
Yep. So 153 Pocono Road. I can't pronounce the last name. Complaint came in from a neighbor about illegal work going on in the garage, auto repair. Sent a notice of violation. They must have had like 15 cars there.
Wow.
They're only allowed 6. I sent a notice of violation. I just sent another one back out today. They did move a lot of the vehicles out of there. I do want to get on the property, do an inspection. They put like a small shed on the side of the garage. There's just a lot of activity going on at this property. It's just hard to get in there.
Yeah.
It is kind of blighted too. If you look at it from the road, there's a carport on the right-hand side. It's collapsing and stuff, and they have been out there like 4 times already. But it's just getting to the point to where it's just really, Motion issue cease and desist if no compliance by April 25th.
Do I have a second on that, going to cease and desist if they don't hear back on 153 Pocono Road?
I'll second.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Tony. All in favor of instructing the CEO to go to cease and desist? if necessary?
Aye.
Aye. All against? And abstention? Okay, unanimous?
Moving on to the next page.
Oh, by the way, speaking of that, is Blight, is it get to a point where Blight will get involved?
I'll bring Blight in the next, I'll bring that to Blight the next meeting.
Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
55 High Ridge.
One second, Frank. Are you allowed to do mechanical work on your property, in your garage?
You can, but they're doing it as a business.
Okay.
You can work on your car in the garage, not on 15 cars.
Right, okay. No, I understand that. I'm just kind of curious.
Just for the edification of the commission, you can have 6 cars on the driveway.
Right.
With 5 of them have to be registered, and only 1 can be unregistered.
Right, to the property owner of the property, technically, yeah. I mean, there was a food truck out there, there was landscaping trucks, they've been out there working on, right broad daylight out there, so it's just more than a residential property. But moving on to the next property, 55 High Ridge Road, Saraceno residents. I sent a notice of violation for a junkyard. I went out there, I noticed 5 unregistered vehicles in the driveway. Not one of them had a plate on it. So I did send a notice of violation. They have till the 12th to comply. I did go by there again today. It was down from 5 to 3. So I'm hoping that he's in the process of getting them all out of there.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like he maybe does some kind of auto sales. Or something, and he brings them home.
He's
Now,
making
where's
an
that
effort, but
high-risk
it's,
road?
he's making an effort, but it's a mess over there. Motion issue cease and desist if no compliance by April 15th. That gives him a few more days.
Yeah. Motion's on the floor.
I'll second it.
Tony seconds it.
You said April 14th?
15th, because he's making an effort, but it's not fully done yet.
No, that's fine.
15th, yeah.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? It's unanimous. Thank you.
Moving on, 13 North Pleasant Rise, Maldonado residents received a complaint regarding good old roosters and chickens.
Trespassing chickens?
Chickens are okay, roosters, not so.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, I mean, she's only got just about a quarter acre.
Yeah.
So.
You mean live chickens, not in the
Live-
freezer?
Live chickens, yeah. I didn't count them all.
You are allowed a certain number.
Yeah, I mean.
You know
they
the
had-
price of eggs these days?
Yeah, 9 chickens and 2 roosters on there. So of course, you know, she has her little son come in who can't, because she has to translate for her.
Yeah.
So of course, I'm getting the sad story that, you know, they're his roosters and stuff. But I went out there. She's supposed to have them all out there by next Tuesday. I have another inspection set up.
What's the violation? How many is she allowed on the property?
Well,
that
she's
size?
has under a quarter acre, I mean, that's.
So I
this
don't
is
think,
none. Well,
yeah.
Roosters or
Usually
chickens?
we need at least a,
Roosters, right?
roosters.
No roosters at all.
no you need 3 acres for roosters.
Well, and here's the question I have for the commission too, is you need an acre for 12,
The first 12.
for the first 12, but then under the regulations, let me just pull it up quick. There's,
You know how many people in this town have backyard chickens?
The keeping of poultry on lots less than 1 acre may be permitted by zoning permit.
Exactly.
May.
So if she wants to keep hens there, she can come in and apply for a permit.
Exactly, and now, if she has a quarter acre, I mean, what does the commission feel is adequate?
I would say most of them are four. Well,
3.5.
no, I would say they're sold in groups of 4 most of them. My mother has 8 acres and she has chickens, so 4 I would say is probably the appropriate number.
Well, if it's 12 an acre, then it'd be 3.
Yeah.
For a quarter.
I was with Gwen, although I will also defer, if they come in lots of 4.
They do usually.
You can't buy 3 and
Exactly.
give 1 back.
Like, and the one my mother buys from, she has to buy at least 4.
That's it. You can't buy them anywhere else, like 1 or 2.
I don't know, but I mean,
Can't.
I know she buys them from 2 different breeders and that's where they come from.
You can buy.
I never bought any.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no.
Yeah. I'm not experienced with both.
Plenty of room.
I had
Oh, I
you.
am. I've eaten a lot of it, but that's different.
I go to pick them up for her when she orders them, so.
So, I mean, I would be with, okay, myself, 4 seems, you know.
But just
sold in
hens,
lots of
no
4.
roosters.
No, and no roosters.
Yeah, no
We're talking,
roosters.
right, we're talking strictly hens.
Because a rooster is a noise issue.
Yeah,
Yeah, but she has to come in and apply for the permit though.
Correct.
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
and we do have a poultry permit, yes.
So, so, do I have a motion to,
There's no violation necessarily yet because she hasn't even given a request for compliance, so.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back out there by the next
I think
weekend.
when you go, just tell her she wants to have chickens, come in and apply and we'll
The rooster's
consider
gonna be
it.
going, she's only allowed.
Right, the roosters have to go, and it's a maximum of 4.
Perfect, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gonna snap in a minute.
where was that, 13 North Pleasant Road?
Moving on, 31 Green Knoll Drive, again, there's pending litigation
Yeah,
on that.
I'm gonna do a timeline for you and Attorney Beecher,
Oh.
because it's a long one.
For the people who have not weren't here at the beginning of Green Knoll, Vicky, the lady sitting there, is the one who's most affected.
Yeah. She was the.
She spoke.
You know,
to
she
them.
was at some of your meetings before.
Yeah,
I
Vicky
saw her
Oh,
on-
yeah,
Stout
with
is
her
the neighbor.
husband.
Her husband passed away, right?
Right.
So, moving on, 19 White Pine Drive, the Ribeiro residence, this was the wood cutting property over there. I went out there today, there's
Yeah.
been no action at all out there, everything is just stopped, so, but I do wanna just keep it on the report, just to monitor.
Yeah,
it, so.
and have they put in added a permit for house building?
No,
No.
nothing yet, no, but the wood chippers, or not the chipper, the log splitter is still sitting out there, but there's been no signs of anything, I even spoke to the neighbor, there's been,
They've been
it's
quiet.
been dormant.
Motion to go to citation if no compliance by May 1st.
Well, the
Nothing's been done.
violation would be wood cutting, which he's not doing anymore.
I thought the site's a mess too.
It's undeveloped right now, but.
He did we do have an active cease and desist there.
Yeah, on permitted use as contractor's yard. Now, do we want him to remove the log splitter?
I'll withdraw the motion.
I would-
Keep monitoring it, but I just,
Yeah.
we do have an active cease and desist is my point. It's
Yeah.
almost 2 months old.
4 Heather Lane,
That's nothing.
Yeah, really.
It used to not be.
It's the one above it.
4 Heather Lane, I moved to a cease and desist on that. I got that out yesterday, so he hasn't received that yet. And also, he's in violation with the building department, who's also sent him a notice. So I'm working in conjunction with building on that for the swimming pool and the shed that he's put on the property, so.
So on that one, I would move to go to citation by May 1st, if no compliance.
You just said there's a cease and desist, you just sent yesterday, Frank?
Yeah, but it's.
Yeah.
But there's been
Well,
no proactivity with this one.
Yeah, we can authorize the CEO to continue down the path, if, you know, so he doesn't have to come back to us each time. And I don't
That's why I'm,
I don't
that's
see
why I'm,
any-
that's why I'm
yeah.
laying out a
So
timetable.
I don't see a problem with that.
So I'll move to issue citation of no compliance by May 1.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tony. All, discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against?
What's this?
And abstain? Okay, unanimous.
Next, 11 Crossroad, the Georgia Landy Aries residence. The previous commission meeting, motion was made to send a cease and desist.
Mhm.
I got the cease and desist out, and again, I'm just waiting for a response from the property owner. On this, he's running the gutter business from the property, he's got the
Yeah.
commercial vehicles and the carports on the property.
I think
He's also
like-
in violation of wetlands also.
Yeah.
so.
I think this one could be like the previous one, you know. I'll accept a motion to go to
Citation of no
Citation.
compliance by May 1.
by one.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? All right, unanimous?
Motion to go to a citation?
Yes.
By May 1.
Moving on to 58 Old Grace Bridge Road. Okay. Yeah, this is,
It's never gonna go away, is it?
well, yeah, this one, this is, I spoke to the attorney for the owner of the property, Greg Brausenhausen from Collins Hannafin, who says that he can't do anything with the site because he's waiting for EPA approval because of the contamination on the site. That's what's got him holed up right now. The fact is that he's still running 2 businesses from the property. He does not have a CO, does not have a certificate of zoning compliance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conflicts here because his attorney and Lesser Evil's attorney, who's one of the occupants, is done by Collins Hannafin too, which we have Tom Beecher as our town attorney, so we have a conflict of interest between the 3 parties, so
But you've
we
got,
are going outsourcing to.
you have, whatchamacallit as the backup attorney now.
Yeah, we'll go outside.
Yeah, we are.
We're investigating.
We are investigating on it. It's already
Trying
been,
to retain an outside attorney.
yes, yeah, we're in the process of doing that.
But
so.
we, no, who is it? It's Rich Roberts, what his firm is backup.
Holland Stage.
Holland Sage, yeah.
So I'll have another update on that once after we meet with the next attorney,
Yeah.
whomever.
I mean, I read the wetlands on this one, and, you know, I understand his issue with, you know, continuing with his decontamination and all that. But like you said, this has nothing to do with that.
No.
You should be running a business out of a place that
Would
is
you
not
issue,
ready.
would you issue citation now? It seems to me like they're using the EPA as an excuse, but they're doing everything they've always been doing.
Well, what is this? This is on the C and D?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's not a bad idea. You know, he's just going to keep stringing it along, so.
Motion to issue citation effective.
To direct a ZO to.
Direct ZO to issue citation effective 4/12.
Second?
I second it.
All right, any discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Abstain? All right, unanimous?
And moving on to my favorite 89 Wisconsin Road. There was a damage, I think, the commission, there was a damage hearing set for March 19th. The case was removed from the pre-argument conference, and the briefing schedule was to be set by the clerk's office. Both parties agree a pre-argument conference would likely resolve the case at a later date, which I do not have a date on yet on that, when that's gonna take place.
They still are in violation, though. They're
They
still
are.
doing what they've
They
been
are.
doing.
They are.
And
And-
even if we get damages and stuff, what does that do what does that force them to do? Except to get money or put liens?
Injunction.
Yeah,
Injunction.
Injunction.
Yeah, the property can't be sold unless, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's gonna be an injunction, according to the attorney that previous attorney or firm. So, that's where that's going. And then, 35 Hidden Brook, we have a meeting with Attorney Tom Beecher, I think 2 weeks, and this is gonna be on my agenda to discuss with him what the next procedures are.
Okay.
On this 35 Hidden Brook. So, we've already exhausted our efforts, so.
Yeah.
Next would be,
like you said, last meeting, there's a lot of bad behavior out there that's popping up, springtime.
Yeah, yeah. I received 5 complaints in the past week, so that's on top of just trying to do this, and then, yeah, it's been, yeah.
All right, thank you, Fran. All right, any commissioner comments or informal discussion?
Oh, I just have a question.
Yes, Gwen?
Well, I have 2 things, actually. A question on the medical marijuana. That can be delivered?
Yes, you can,
So you don't have to go to Mill Plain Road? You can have it delivered?
No, we can't regulate the the vehicles of interstate commerce. That's federal law.
yeah,
So we can't regulate it.
Or intrastate, so if they order from the botanist, someone who's authorized and has license to drive it to your house can do so.
Okay, so you don't have to go there?
You do not. And
Many
I-
people don't, as we heard last time. They can't drive.
Yeah.
You just go on the street, like they were saying.
Mhm.
Just pick it up and do it.
Or grow your own.
That's what they were saying. I
And
didn't know
you
it
had
was
a
that bad
second
in
question?
Brookfield,
Yeah.
but.
I have a second statement.
Oh.
So I will say once again, I'm doing a promo. If you go into New York City, don't miss the stunning Water for Elephants at the Imperial Theater.
And where is that?
Imperial Theater on 45th Street.
45th and 7th?
Close to 8th.
Broadway?
We're close to 8th, yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say between 7th and 8th, but,
No, between 8th and
oh, is it 8th and
and
9th?
Broadway.
Yeah, but 45th is where Broadway running.
No.
7th.
Well, 7th is on the other side.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
It's in the city.
You know,
Close
You'll
to
find
8th
it.
Avenue.
Imperial.
Kurt, I have,
The Imperial
find.
Theater.
Yeah.
Water for Elephants.
I do think that what we should do as a commission, maybe Kurt collaborate with Laura and Fran a little bit. Since the public hearing's closed now, just kind of a general press release thanking everybody who took the time to weigh in via writing or via speaking here,
Yeah.
because you know, it was really appreciative. I listened to everybody that spoke. I'm gonna continue to read what we have received already. But, you know, we made an effort as a commission and the land use office staff to proactively solicit opinion. I think we should just put something out, News Times, Patch and everything, thanking the people who did take the time to weigh in. And then also let them know that the public hearing is now closed
Yeah.
and we'll be
Yeah.
deliberating.
Right, we're not accepting.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
That's, I was gonna say, that's even more
But it
important.
shows that we're appreciative of those that
Yeah.
took the time
So
to
we're
write
having
into us.
no more public hearings on
Well, we
it.
can't,
Correct,
we
we
can't.
closed it.
We closed it.
But,
If we get written correspondence, it has to go into a sealed file.
Yeah. So we can do it,
Are
on
we
the
going, are
banner.
we going to state where,
I stated when I said the public hearing's closed.
Right.
more
no, that's not what I meant.
In the
Pro
press
or
release, I
con.
think should
I mean,
be used.
how many we have for this or how many,
Well, we already, I think we have that.
you did state that. in-
Yeah, and so we
in-
can go back over and
You
deliberate.
said that in the meeting,
Got it,
but
yeah.
I just, as you state thank you and thank you for your comments, do we state where it's landing?
No,
No.
no, in deliberations that we can. And
Okay.
then anybody who's interested in the public can certainly come here and watch, but they cannot comment, they cannot interact with us.
Yeah, because whoever spent the money and time to send out that postcard, they send out another one saying that we're gonna be deliberating on April 25th. Then people might start writing in again and we can't
Right.
consider what they have to say.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a waste of time.
yeah. So, up on the website and,
And News Times, Patch, I mean, because I'm appreciative of all the people. I mean, over 100 some odd people weighed in on this. That was a good
yeah.
thing.
And before we get to the spotlight, because that's only on the 1st of the month,
Oh,
so it's kinda too late.
I do have a question. Austin mentioned that they did a survey and he sent it in. Do we have that?
Yeah, there was some information that came in, yeah, I think so.
It's in that long packet of
Yeah, it's
stuff.
it's one of the letters attached, I believe, because I looked at it and.
You got
saw the
electronically,
numbers.
electronically.
Yeah.
It wasn't in this bit, it was electronic, if you look in your email.
Oh,
There were
okay.
so many.
Gwen wants
coming in.
hard copies of everything.
I do.
Sorry.
I don't have time to look at it.
There's so many that came in that Amy had a tough
Yeah,
time
yeah,
printing,
yeah.
and plus.
You
there's
wanna
so
kill
much paper-
trees?
Yeah, right. So that's a good resource, just go right to our,
Did you get dressed together today?
yes, we did.
No, he's got khakis on. Sean and
phone that
Sean
is.
and he-
Thursday,
Well, that's a
it's a
different
planned
one.
Thursday, or lumberjack, depending on how you wanna look at
There
it.
you go.
No, but I mean, I think as a commission, we are real appreciative of the
Yeah.
public. comment.
I mean, even though, I don't know who put that out, but it was very impartial, the bingo card that they put out, and it solicited input, so I'm glad they did that. You know, it didn't cost the town, someone spent money on our
I just don't
behalf.
want them to do it again, telling people to write in and then we can't read it, so.
I wish
I
they
didn't
would-
get
I wish
one.
they would do it for more.
You didn't get
money.
one?
You know, I didn't get one
I
either,
got
but
two.
my mother
I
got
didn't get
one.
one either. I didn't get any.
I didn't
You
get
didn't
any of
get
those.
either?
Must
I
not
got
have
two.
mailing, I guess.
I don't know what the mailing list was.
They left the shores out.
I got nothing.
Oh, no, you know,
Oh,
I
you
know
don't
why.
have any water,
No, I
do
know
you?
why.
You don't have drinking water.
I do.
I think it,
I heard at the shores that you can't drink the water.
Well, if you-
who
I
said
drink
that?
the water all the time.
Reverse osmosis.
No,
I have an RO system.
I literally just heard that it's cancerous, that
No.
there's no drinking water.
So I don't know if that postcard was, but if it's EDDM, which is every door direct mail, you can only send 5,000 in the zip code in the same day. So we have 6,800 addresses, so the others had to get it on different
This
days.
was Cheshire mailing.
It was, well, there's a company in Cheshire that does these type of
Do you have a
mailings.
well or do you have a well for
They,
that?
they do them all over.
All right, any more comments by commissioners?
Nothing.
Sorry.
Recording secretary.
Oh, yeah.
because you're-
Yeah.
these little things going on, so.
Motion to adjourn at 9 PM on the dot.
Second.
All right, all, discussion on adjourning, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?